Oh, hello there!
And welcome to the story of how I beat Shrek 2 for the GameCube faster than you could watch the movie. If I want to complete this challenge, the first thing I need to do is figure out how long the movie Shrek 2 actually is. I got thinking of how I could do so, and I think I figured out the best method. The best method I could think of was to simply pull out a timer and just watch the movie. Let's begin. Now that I know the time to beat is 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 23 seconds, I can get to practicing. To start off, I figured I would just play the game casually and try and pull off as many speedrunning tricks as I could. This first, non-rushed attempt took me about 3 hours and 45 minutes to complete, and I feel like I learned a lot from it, but I wanted to see how good of a time I could get if I really played my hand and gave it a real shot. So, I gave it my best. Now, I wish I could say this attempt went fantastic and I beat the challenge right there, but it wasn't going to be quite that easy. My time for this run was about 2.5 hours. Now, I didn't do any resets and ended up really showing in the final time. So, I gave it another shot and unfortunately did not get much of a better time. It was at this point when I realized I needed to kick my efforts up a notch and start taking this seriously. I picked up the controller and got to practicing. And here's a summary of a few tricks I learned along the way. This first trick is pretty simple. Donkey just needs to clip through this fence. It's honestly not difficult in the slightest. This next trick is a lot harder. Shrek just needs to jump out of bounds over this bridge, and then if he falls in the right spot, it's able to skip about a 45-second fight. Here, if you clip through the wall, you're able to skip a large portion of the level. In my opinion, this trick is one of the strangest. If Puss in Boots lands in the right spot, you're able to skip the rest of the level just like that. For this one, you're able to get through this fence if you use Puss in Boots. He just needs to do a jumping attack at the right spot, and it pushes him through the wall. It can save you about a minute. I cannot, for the life of me, figure this one out, but if you throw an apple at the perfect moment, it's able to take half a fairy godmother's health in one hit. Here, Puss in Boots is able to jump through the wall, because that's how cats work, I guess. For this one, if Little Red Riding Hood walks at just the right spot, skips a large chunk of the level. This one is honestly super difficult. Unlike with this one, Puss in Boots simply has to walk behind the boss, and then if he does a full range of attacks towards the door, you're able to skip the whole fight, just like that. Once again, another easy one. If you jump at just the right spot, you're able to skip about 45 seconds. As you just saw, a few of these tricks were pretty simple to pull off, some of them were difficult, and some of them were straight impossible. Luckily, most of the ones I couldn't figure out weren't too important, so I could just skip over them. However, one of the most important tricks of the whole run, I could just not figure out. It takes place in the first level and allows you to skip over half of it. To sum it up, you have to grab a snail here, and then you bring it to the fence in the back. Put it down, and then using another character, push it through. From there, Shrek grabs it, and it clips him through the fence. This honestly isn't very hard, it can just take a couple tries to get right. But here's where the difficulty really cranks up. I still have to make it past the long strip of gators on the right, and this quickly became the bane of my existence, as shown by the next few seconds of this video.
Oh no! No, dang nabbit! Life would be easier if I was a brownie. Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh, the humiliation.
Darn!
We stink! No!
Now that you've seen a mere fraction of the pain I endured for this challenge, let me show you how the trick is supposed to work. First, using Fiona, you need to slow down time, then changing characters back to Shrek, you use a tricky camera manipulation trick to allow you to walk further than you normally can. Once you've gotten the checkpoint, you need to immediately turn around and die, so the rest of your team can teleport to that checkpoint. It has taken me hundreds of attempts to simply get this trick a handful of times. I was really starting to think about how long it would take me to complete this challenge if I couldn't even get the first trick semi-reliably. It was eating up so much time, in fact, I wasn't sure if I should even continue attempting the challenge at all. That was until it happened. I had finally figured it out. I had spent hours on this one part of the speedrun, failing time after time. The method I had been using up to this point was the one I found on the Shrek 2 speedrunning guide, an apparently incomplete guide, I might add. After failing at the provided method, I figured I should check out the world record holder's method of doing so. Lo and behold, it is infinitely easier and way faster to do. Using the new method, I was able to get this trick every 4 to 5 times, rather than the 30 or 40 it took with the old method. Now that I had figured out most of the important skips, I figured it was time I should give the speedrun another full attempt. And believe it or not, this run went fantastic. I absolutely destroyed my previous record with a time of 1 hour and 43 minutes. Now, while this wasn't a success for the challenge as a whole, it was still a major improvement and gave me hope that there was still a chance. So, I gave it one last shot. Cue the overly dramatic music. With a finishing time of 1 hour and 28 minutes, I was officially ranked 8th place worldwide for Shrek 2 speedrunning. And finally, after so much time and effort, I had beaten the hit game Shrek 2 for the GameCube faster than you or I could watch the actual hit movie Shrek 2. Thanks for watching.
Well, Shrek and Fiona got their happily ever after all. Now put down the controller and go outside to play. We're done. Really. It's over. That is all, folks.